misunderstood.
Welcome to the channel, guys. So last weekend we saw the final conclusion to the Fortnite Duos series. This gives us once again a chance to dig deep into the data and find out what mouse sensitivity settings the pros do use and what rules supreme when it comes to the top 10 from each of the regions. So as usual, we take the top 10 from the four main regions, that is NA East, Europe, NA West and OCE. And we'll then work out the mean averages for the mouse sensitivity used, that is the EDPI. EDPI stands for effective DPI. If you're unsure what EDPI means, it is your mouse settings DPI in your mouse software multiplied by your in-game sensitivity. I will produce a video in the future giving you a more detailed explanation of how to work out your EDPI. Right, so let's get straight into it. The average EDPI used by the professionals this week in the top 10 was 59.42. And if you're wondering what 59 EDPI looks like, if you were using a 400 DPI mouse sensitivity, your in-game sensitivity would be 14.75, 800 DPI would be 7.375, 1000 DPI would be 5.9, 1200 DPI would be 4.91 in-game sensitivity, or maybe a 4.92 to round it up, and 1600 DPI would be 3.68. So what does this mean? Well, this is the highest EPI of this series so far, and you happen to, perhaps this is the most relevant one, as the week 5 is strictly the highest performers from the 5, although it must be said that the previous 4 weeks have only taken data from the actual finals event, not the semi-final. So we see the week 5 EDPI at 59.42 is higher than any of the 4 previous weeks and much higher than last week's 52 EDPI. This brings the total average from all 5 weeks to 56. The data has been extremely consistent from all the weeks, and this just does bring this back in line because we have seen it progressively go down from week 1 through to week 4, and then week 5 has just brought it straight back up again, higher than ever. So we can claim that somewhere between the 50 to 60 EDPI range is probably the average, and it probably will continuously just fall within that should we continue doing this data for future weeks. However, this is the final week of this particular FNCS tournament, and once again your average EDPI throughout was 56. However, let's move on to the modes, the most frequently represented range of sensitivity, because it is quite important to mention that the actual mean range itself of 55 to 59 was actually quite poorly represented and was only the joint third highest range in the categories, and was dwarfed quite massively by the other categories of 45 to 49 and 40 to 44. So the full breakdown of the mode is the 30 to 34 range had 1 player. That was Falconer, your lowest data point, at 32. 35 to 39 had 1, 40 to 44 had 4. The most frequent represented range was 45 to 49. That had 7 players within it. The 50 to 54 bracket had 1 player, 55 to 59 2. 60 to 64 1, 65 to 69 1, 80 to 84 2, 100 to 104 1, and 120 had 1. That was Chaps, your highest data point with 120 DPI. So once again, it's important to note that though this is the average at 59, only 2 players actually used this in the finals, so you may be better served going towards the 45 to 49 EDPI range that was the highest represented there. The regions probably have their greatest distance between them at this point in terms of EDPI, because this time the highest EDPI was 63.52, the lowest was 45. The highest EDPI was Europe, and it is considered to probably be the most competitive region, and it's worth noting that probably the least competitive of the 4 regions. OCE was the lowest EDPI, so read into that what you will. The average DPI used has been relatively unchanged, generally being a mix of 400 and 800, which has largely pulled it to around about a 700 average across all the 5 weeks there, so very consistent data. It is also not a very important data because there is a very minimal difference in between the DPI ranges, and it is for the most part a largely superficial change, and it is much more important what your actual EDPI is, dependent on your in-game sensitivity multiplication factor. So if you do like this content, please like, share and subscribe. Your support means a lot to us. The more subscribers we do get, the more likes and views and follows, means we can perform more data analysis like this in the future. Moving on, the average ADS used was 0.53. That is your aim down sight sensitivity setting, and that means that 0.53 would give you roughly half the sensitivity used when you're not aiming down your sight. The average ADS EDPI, that is the mouse sensitivity sensitivity whilst aiming down sights was calculated to be 30.42, and as usual that is expected to be roughly half of that of the hipfire EDPI, since the ADS average was 0.53. This has been fairly consistent throughout the 5 weeks. The X and Y sense is once again very consistent, with the average X sense being 9.31 and the average Y sense being 9.33, a very small difference between the two axes there, with a slight preference to the Y sense being a higher sensitivity, but almost not significant, not worth noting. The X sense is your horizontal axis, that is across, that is when you're spinning round, and the Y sense is your vertical axis, looking up and down. There is very few players that do have a difference. There is in this dataset Mega, and that's it, just Mega. Nobody else used a different X to Y, so once again we have to conclude that this is probably not a good strategy in pro level competitive shooters. So if you do fall outside of these data sets, should you be concerned? Let me know what you think in the chat. A lot of people are asking in the videos, should I change? Should I higher it? Should I lower it if they are falling outside of this? What I would say is no, you don't have to. You may well be able to be that person that does break in this data set with your sensitivity if it does fall either lower or higher than the mean average. However, you do just have to consider that there is a possibility, given this data, that you might actually be using something that is bottlenecking your performance, and you might actually perform better with a more balanced sensitivity that is more equivocal to the mean of this data set. Sensitivity is often cited to be something that is personal to the individual. However, I think we can agree if someone's using 1 or 2 EDPI, that's going to be too low and that will be holding them back. If they're going to be using a 2000 EDPI, that is probably going to be way too fast to control. So once again, we do have to understand that some EDPIs are just going to be too low and too high to play with and will be detrimental to your game, and the whole purpose of this video is generally to find out what that boundary is. So on the basis of this, the boundary would appear to be the 2 data points across all 5 series of 32 Falconer, who's represented multiple times, and Canada has came in at 136 EDPI, so that would be the highest range across all the 5 weeks. This again would suggest that this is the highest EDPI that you can qualify on, and once again Falconer's 32 is the lowest EDPI you can qualify on. However, it would be up to you. If you are on a DPI and you are sat here right now like, hey, that is nonsense, I'll show you, I'll make it in the next FNCS, then power to you. I hope you do. Prove me wrong. I'll see you in the next data set. And if you want to know what 32 EDPI looks like, if you want to give a go in game and have a try of what Falconer plays with, then your sensitivities would be, if you were using 400 DPI, it's 8 for your in-game sensitivity. For 800 DPI would be 4. And 1000 DPI with 3.2, 1002 DPI with 2.66 reoccurring, 1600 DPI would be 2 in-game sensitivity. And if you want to give a go at Chaps 120 EDPI setting, you would need to set your in-game sensitivity to 30 if you're on 400 DPI. If you're on 800 DPI, it would be 15, 1000 DPI would be 12, 1200 DPI would be 10, 1600 DPI would be 7.5. So once again, if you would like to go into creative, maybe give it a test, see how it feels. Special credit goes to Rockety Whack for providing us the intro for this week's video. You can find his Vimeo socials here. This is now the end of the FNCS series, but do not be sad. We will be back with future analyses, and we have a few more videos in the pipeworks, but also please let us know if there's anything that you would like us to look at next, and we will consider it in the future. And if you have stayed till the end of the video, thank you very much. I'm now going to leave you guys and let you continue watching this gameplay footage, so until next time, peace.
We're gonna burn it down. Burn it down. We're gonna burn it down. Burn it down. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder.
I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. 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 Yeah. Show them. Yeah.
Change the station with a new shit. Show them.
it's murder. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker.
I killed it. I killed it. I killed it.
I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder.
Go crazy, berserker.